Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Great to be with you. And here we are toward the end of the week. And boy, we cover a lot of territory. I was just thinking about that this morning on the drive in, which was like end of days. One of those mornings. Wrecks and crashes and people irritated with the road and other people. It's crazy. But we're glad to be in the studio, and we're going to have a new guest on today. Country Life Vitamins should be calling in from California. We'll tell you more about the guest here in a little bit. And Stephen's here, Gary's here, intern is here. Did you see the ghost from Christmas Past roaming around anywhere? Gotta get you a mic. And yesterday I was talking about food addiction, which really gets at the psychology of food and our psychological relationship with food. And it's a big topic, and it's the psychology of food. You know, addiction to food is just one dimension of it. And I'm sort of intrigued with that area, the psychology of food, in that. And it's psychology, social psychology, disciplines get involved, communication, discipline of communication as well, the social sciences, not just psychologists that study the psychology of food, by the way. But our eating habits are heavily influenced by our social environment, no question about that. You've heard me report from the Cornell Food Lab studies from time to time. Dr. Wansink, they're into that a lot there. And, you know, I remember if you studies reporting from that lab, I talked about the size of the plate, the size of the flatware. If you're with people who are slim, you tend to take on their eating habits and their way of relating to food. So, or if you hang out with people who are a little heavier and tend to eat the foods that are unhealthy, guess what? That's what you tend to do as well. So, yeah. And it's all about the psychology and our relationship with others and food. It does get complicated. So, there's a website that I went to. I found it. And it is DW. It's called Made for Minds website. And they have some interesting articles there. And you talk about the psychology of food. Well, your mind's got to be in the right place to be eating insects. And they report and talk about a story. And the headline on it is Insect Meatballs top the food trends at Germany's Angua Trade Fair. This is apparently an annual trade fair, and they do. I guess they're pretty open-minded. This is Gary just walked back in because we had a
hiccup,
a major coffee spill. There's a website called dw.com. It's Made for Minds. And there's a story there about insect meatballs. And this Angua Food Fair showcases some of the world's, these are their words, finest delicacies, I guess. I'm thinking about the meatballs my mother made. These are insect meatballs. And I have a producer that would be inclined to eat one of those.
I would.
Well, then I have two. because Stephen would go for it. He's very adventurous with food.
Yeah, I'd give it a shot.
See? I told you.
Yeah, there's also been like, I don't know if there's studies or just talks or people talking about how insects could be an actual help with the world hunger population.
Well, you're right on.
There's lots of nutrients and protein and all sorts of stuff. And if people just would get past the fact that they're gross, disgusting, crawly creatures, but that could be something that really could put a dent in the world hunger population.
I saw that with the mealworms. I saw that they were going to try to mass breed and mass produce mealworms and then make it into like a biscuit.
Yeah. Well,
they are called mealworms.
I know. No pun intended. You're right about that, Stephen. And they talk about it here at the website as well. And they said that, I'm quoting them. I'll get it. It says, yet amid the gluttony, these meatballs, it also presents, the fair does, it also presents a ecology conscientious menu, ecologically conscientious menu with sustainable meat alternatives for the very reason that Stephen highlighted. You see how smart these producers are? But can you stomach it? Now, I don't know if I could do it. You could do it, Gary.
I could, just to try, I mean, I've eaten some off the wall. Okay, so in my hometown in Evansville, Indiana, they have this place that does fried pig brain sandwiches. And they serve it on
fried what?
Pig brain sandwiches.
Fried, okay, Stephen. Fried pig brain sandwiches.
Yep. And Andrew Zimmerman actually went there and did the bizarre foods of Andrew Zimmerman. He did their, and they have Burgo soup, which is like a rich, thick, hearty stew soup. And you eat the pig brain sandwiches with the Burgo soup, and you have fish bowls of beer. But at first, I couldn't get over the fact of eating the brain. Okay, and so what my dad did, remember his stories. Okay, so he cut it, and he didn't tell me what it was, and I didn't eat the sandwich. I just ate the brain part. I was like, well, this is pretty good. And he goes, well, boy, you're eating them fried pig brains. And I was like, oh. So
what was the movie, Hannibal Lecter?
Silence of the Lambs. Ate his liver with a fight.
Well, yeah, well, no, there's the one before it, the prequel, where he serves up the guy his brains. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We'll have to find
Red Dragon.
Thank you. There you go. The Red Dragon. Oh, my. Meatballs. Insect meatballs. I wish you could find the image. Here it is. They show them. If you're watching the show, Gary's going to find it. Insect meatballs top the food trends at Germany's Angua Trade Fair. That's the headline. It's on the website for this. This is an interesting website. It's called Made for Minds. DW, Made for Minds. DW.com. I don't know. But they go on to talk about, apparently they serve all kind of delicacies at this trade fair. I would like to go. Wine connoisseurs. They have fine brandies, all sorts of wines. This is from the 7th through the 11th of October. It'll be 7,500 food and beverage companies from across the world pack into the Coleman Mess Expo Center, where you'll find the finest products. Now, they say, oh, my goodness, look at that. Come back, we'll tell you more about this. This is an interesting trait. Crickets, breaded crickets.
If you've ever had digestive issues slow you down.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day. giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Insect meatballs, breaded insects. I don't know. These food items. It's Friday today. We're lightening it up a little bit. Are being featured at this apparently this health fair, food health fair in Germany. It's pretty amazing. I don't know if I would do it or not. Maybe if I were there and caught up in it all, I would probably be inclined to try those things. I know you two guys, you probably go for it right away. No. The intern says no. The intern has a name, right, Gary?
Yeah, Sammy.
Is it?
Sammy. Sam, me. So, yeah, like Sam Mitch, but Sam me.
Got it. Sandwich.
Sam.
And so we have interns that come in and work in the studio. I share this with you, let you know kinds of things that we're doing in here. And they're going to broadcast school. And so they get involved in the production of the show. Not as easy as you think. But it's all good.
Yeah, it's good. They're learning, and they're from the HCC, the Hillsborough Community College,
Which is a good school.
Yeah, that's where I went to school at. So I try to help them out by helping out their interns because there's not many opportunities to intern in the Bay Area in video production and radio production.
Right.
So it gives them an opportunity to have a reach that they wouldn't have.
Good.
So
she doesn't have a mic, but I wonder if she would eat the crickets, these breaded crickets. When you look at the images, you had that image up there a little bit ago. The food, they said that they're called pop bugs, are a new product from Macarna. I'm not familiar with that. It's a Swiss food company. That's why I don't know it. It specializes in meat, poultry, and fish, among other things. The 2017 Angua Food Trade Fair highlighted alternative to energy-intensive meat products. And this is exactly the point that Stephen was making. And what they're showing, we're showing the actual, some footage from the fair. That looks high-end, Gary.
Oh, yeah,
Look at that.
look at them booths.
That is a high-end fair, man. Wow. Look at that. Insects are one option to address the food. Some consider eventually going to be a food crisis. Even though this business of eating insects is somewhat alien and foreign to Western society and culture, apparently they're trying to make a move to introduce it. So for all you adventurous investors out there, have at it. This issue of food scarcity is a big deal. And that footage, I was so impressed. Did you see the booths? Those booths, those are high end. These aren't cardboard boxes, man. Look at that. Wow. That's something. We're going to be attending the Expo West trade show, natural products trade show come March, I believe. And in fact, my guest, Renee Messi, lives not far from Anaheim, where we'll be attending. I spoke with her last evening briefly, and she's a new guest on the show. We'll get her introduced here when we get to the bottom of the hour. In case you wanted to know, this is an environmental issue. This business about eating insects, I know it's provocative, but it relates to a bigger environmental issue. And the organizers of this food fair in Germany have not shied away, they said, from putting the environmental impact that comes with our love for fine foods on the front burner, close quote. Farm animals consume 8% of the world's water supply and produce 15% of all the unnatural greenhouse gas emissions. This is stress on the environment. They said that given the global rising demand of dairy and meat products, and there is an increase in the demand, they commented that, and I'll quote, "It's clear that the levels of water, land, and energy use that go into meat production, not to mention its transportation and refrigeration, are becoming increasingly," wait for it, "unsustainable," close quote. Now, right now, you and I sit here, and this seems like an abstract issue. It really isn't. If you go to the Environmental Working Group's website, ewg.org, they address this issue in some depth, and they're dialed into it. They talk about it all the time. That is a good website, by the way. That's a good organization, environmentalworkinggroup.org. Food innovation. We're going to have to figure out if we want to eat meat and dairy products, consume meat and dairy products, we need to figure out how we're going to be able to do it. Because at the rate of increase globally for those kinds of products, experts are predicting it's not sustainable. It's not just cattle out grazing and chickens and whatnot and this and that. No, far more complicated than that. Who would have thought? They have to be fed. They have to be, well, we'll get into it a little bit more on another show when I deal with that theme in depth. Come back, new guest. Introduce that guest when we get back.
Battling.
The perfect complement to your beauty regimen? Try Form Essentials Zinnia. The finest of its kind, Zinnia offers twice as much biotin as other formulas, which has proven to unlock the vibrancy in even the dullest of hair, skin, and nails. Zinnia breaks through and rejuvenates cells internally, helping you achieve the allure of effortless beauty. Reviving your hair, skin, and nails has never been easier. This essential blend of biotin, alpha-lipoic, and hyaluronic acid, collagen, and vitamin C creates lasting enhancements to your natural good looks. Don't go on wondering. You're worth the results. This combination of ingredients can only be found in Zinnia. Pamper yourself with a proven bit of affordable luxury and start looking your best. Ask for Zinnia by name at your nearest vitamin retailer to begin your journey to restored nails, head-turning hair, and radiant skin today. For more information, visit formessentials.com.
When your alarm goes off, do you jump out of bed with excitement? Or does it take multiple alarms, a few snooze buttons, or a morning caffeine fix to get you going? These habits and daily stress cause a vicious cycle in which sleep becomes increasingly elusive. In fact, 54% of Americans report struggles to fall or stay asleep. For a better night's rest, look no further than Solace, an all-natural dietary supplement that supports healthy sleep and relaxation, so you get the rest you need to wake up clear-eyed, alert, and ready for the day. Solace has given thousands a better night's rest and the power to take back their mornings while enjoying the day ahead of them. Solace is formulated with non-addictive, scientifically proven, all-natural ingredients that support sleep and relaxation, such as melatonin, tryptophan, and 5-HTP. For more information or to order Solace, visit takesolace.com. Solace, for healthy sleep naturally.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing, even if it's having bugs for breakfast. Apparently, in some parts of the world, that's what they're doing. I'll drop a few more things along the way as we go along today. But a new guest today, Rana Manzi, is with us, educator for Country Life Vitamins. I spoke with her briefly yesterday. I've never met her before, never met her in person. Just had a brief telephonic interaction. That was about it. But we're always up for new guests and new ideas and insights. Rana, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for getting up so early out there in Disneyland.
Thanks, Dr. Garko. It's great to be here. I'm just finishing my insect meatballs.
Before we go further, I asked you yesterday about the fires. You live near Anaheim, not too far, and I know the fires were threatening Anaheim, weren't they, or not?
Yeah, they were threatening my area. I was actually evacuated about 2 weeks ago, and then we got back in our house maybe 3 days after that, and the wind kicked up this past Monday. And off of our hills blew the ashes into Anaheim and started that. So it was smoldering for a while, and then it just caught. And then my mom was threatened of being evacuated. It's been an interesting couple of weeks, to say the least.
Hundreds of people have died now, yes or no, or missing? Hundreds are missing, and about, 40 have died or so?
That's all. The death toll has been just in Northern California near Santa Rosa. In Southern California, there have been some home losses, about 20 structures in all, but thankfully nobody's passed.
Yeah.
Down here.
Yes. Well, thank goodness.
My nieces are up in Santa Rosa area, and it's pretty decimated. They were both evacuated too, so it's been a California family event for fires for us.
People forget that that's desert area out there, right?
Yes, coastal chaparral where I am, but it definitely is dry, and when we don't have enough rain, it decimates us with fire.
And I heard the reporting on it, and that some people were asleep, right? And maybe their dog woke them, started barking, and they had to leave. They had to leave the house in their pajamas or whatever they had on. The fire was moving at a rate. It was so turbocharged from the winds that it was leaping at a rate that they had to run literally out the door. They couldn't even grab nothing.
We thought it was bad here when we evacuated because we came in, we couldn't barely breathe, just getting stuff to our car, but we had time to get stuff out. Anaheim Hills and even worse so up north, they were going out in their pajamas. People just had to leave. They couldn't take anything with them, and thousands of structures have been damaged up there. It's horrible.
Did you see the images from that community? It's called Coffee something or other, and the before and after. It looked like thermonuclear war had taken place. Not one house was left. A few trees somehow survived, and it was like just total, complete destruction. Complete.
Yeah, it just engulfed them.
Incinerated.
Yep, so sad. I can't believe. We were lucky here. Up there, I can't even imagine.
Can't either. What were you going to say, Gary?
I was going to say my aunt used to live out in Big Bear, and they had a fire out there one year, and they couldn't get off the mountain because there's only one road. And I can imagine being in Anaheim with all the traffic trying to. That just scares me. That thought, because you're in a combustible vehicle.
Where is Santa Rosa, and what is Santa Rosa like environmentally?
It's almost to the Bay Area. It's like the bottom of the Bay Area. It's a college town. It heads towards Napa, kind of that area, and from what I understand, it's pretty much a big portion of it is gone. So unfortunately,
it's unbelievable.
Might be no more.
That's unbelievable. Yeah, I know you didn't come on to talk about this, but you know what? This is a health talk show, but it's also a show about life. And
I want to know about air quality right now out there.
What is the air quality in Southern California?
Yesterday it came in, well, in our area, it came in at moderate, but you can still, especially when it gets damp at night and into the morning, you can smell the fire. We have to keep our windows closed once it's into the evening and until at least sunrise. The air quality is not good. My son, his school has been still keeping him in. It's just still, it's not, I see runners out and I'm shocked. I think it's like
I wouldn't run in that. No
Yeah, it's
way.
crazy. Southern California, they think they have to run in anything, but yeah.
I know.
Like,
I told you I used to live in California. I lived in Pasadena, L.A. area. It's changed since I lived there. The pollution when I lived there, Renee, you weren't even born yet. I suspect. I'm looking at an image of you. You look relatively young. Well, compared to me, I mean, sequoia trees.
Because you used to hang out with that little lady that lived there in Pasadena.
The little old ladies of Pasadena. They don't say that anymore, man. Pasadena is supposed to be pretty modern now, right, Renee?
It is definitely. It's definitely not the old town it used to be. Out changed a lot.
That's out by Huntington, isn't it?
No, the air quality, I would say, from even when I was a child, I can tell you, when I was young, I can remember the pain in my chest when they would burn trash. We had a janitor at one of my schools when I was a child. He would throw in the entire trash bag, the big black trash bag,
yes,
into the incinerator, and you could smell it in the morning. I'd get on the bus, and everybody knew what the smell was. All the schools were burning their trash, and the whole day you would feel like pain in your chest, just breathing. It's so funny because I try to explain to my kids what it was like, and my husband, he says the same thing. Like, do you remember when that happened? He grew up very close to here, and my kids don't get it, which I'm super happy about. But yeah,
well, things have improved. When I lived in Pasadena, and Pasadena is surrounded by the Altadena Mountains, and so Pasadena is like this giant bowl. And the pollution would be so bad, the overhang, we would call it, or whatever, you could see it like a mung hanging over the city. It would literally choke you. And they would have air quality alerts back then. It would literally rot the dashboards in the cars. Back in the day, they had those fabric kind of, plastics and whatnot. It was terrible. So you can imagine what it was. I'm not surprised that your lungs hurt.
I'd say the only thing now, I mean, we have smog. That's probably never going to change with the amount of cars we have here. But I would say unfortunately, a lot of the smog that we get today comes actually over the Pacific from China, especially in the winter. When we have smog here, that's where a lot of it comes from.
Now that not only do they import toys, but they import smog too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no charge.
Yes, that's free.
That's free. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's so bad in China that one producer tells me it's sort of an urban legend, but that I hear tell there's this giant billboard in one of these cities of a sunrise or sunset because people can't see it anymore. So they wanted to remind them that there is one.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. A new guest today. We enjoy introducing new guests, educators, talent, whatever. It's not so easy to do this because some of these ideas, principles, concepts, theories, practices are complicated.
Yes.
So we don't want to dumb it down, but you can't elevate it to a level where, Einstein has to raise his hand and ask a question about it. We don't want to do that either. So we try to find that happy medium. Renee, welcome back to the show. I didn't have a chance to look at your portfolio or bio or anything like that. Can you share a little bit about your background and your training?
Yes, definitely. I worked in the natural products industry the better part of a decade. I came out of a big major vitamin chain out of Southern California, but my story kind of goes way back before that. I would say probably when I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, it wasn't too popular to be taking vitamins, and it was hard to find vitamin chains and things like that. But my mother decided that she was going to raise us in a healthy way, and around 8 years old, I was taking handfuls of vitamins and drinking protein shakes, and my friends all thought it was weird. I probably thought it was weird sometimes too. I sometimes would hide the vitamins underneath my bed if I didn't want to take that one. But I was later on in life really glad that my mom was able to raise me this way. I remember going to like old, small, tiny, hippie vitamin shops and eating the acerola cherry as I go by.
Oh my!
Actually, probably eating way too many of them because I thought they tasted so good. They were like candy, but it actually raised my brothers and I very healthy, and so it was great. And my mom has always been a big part of my life, and she raised me that way. And then as I got older, I kind of went away from it. I went to college, and I went on the regular standard American diet and lived my life that way. And as I got older, I realized that maybe it's better to go back to my roots. So that's what I did. After I graduated college and had my first son, I went back to school and was certified as a nutritionist and a holistic health practitioner from the Global Institute for Alternative Medicine outside of Santa Cruz. And then I had a consulting firm from about 2005 on where I worked with different clients on different health issues and did that for a really long time. But as everybody knows, it's really hard to get people to pay out of pocket. So it was hard to do that. And when you don't have a shingle to hang outside, sometimes insurance won't pay for that. So I went back to work at a health food store, and that kind of propelled me into the bigger side of the industry. And I've been with Country Life now a couple of years.
Yeah.
Love it. It's a great company.
So the whole idea of food, health, nutrition, diet, nutrition, health, wellness, well-being has been part of your life thematically and existentially because of your mom and your background in your family life, and then you went to school and got your credentials and whatnot. And you spent a lot of time in health stores. So this is good. This is good because you have the perspective of the consumer as well in mind and from firsthand experience, and you can give firsthand accounts. We're going to talk about stress today, and it's one of the overarching themes of this show. Stress is almost defining in the way that in its impact on the health, wellness, and well-being of people across the globe. And stress is, physical stress, psycho-emotional stress. It's something that every living organism experiences. Turns out that humans have a way to deal with it, and called the fight or flight response, the stress response. And it has saved us, and it contributed to us making it through these millions and millions of years in our evolution. How do you think about stress in a word? How do you conceptualize it?
I would say overarching and part of the American experience, it seems like it's become. A lot of times in my seminars, when I talk to people and kind of get them to understand issue of stress, I like to use the analogy of the saber-toothed tiger and how stress is so different now than it was years ago when we had to deal with just that. So the caveman is running and he's out getting his daily food and hunting, gathering, all that stuff, and he's hunting, gathering, getting the stuff he needs for his family. Everything's good. He sees the saber-toothed tiger, and immediately that fight or flight goes off, and he thinks to himself, okay, now either I'm going to live or I'm going to die. So he starts running, run. His adrenaline spikes up. He's running. He ends up falling off of a cliff and falls down, hurts his ankle. The saber-toothed tiger goes to the end of the cliff and thinks, yeah, you're not worth it, turns around and goes the other way. But now he's stuck down there. His adrenaline's spiking. He's not going to have food for a couple of weeks. His body has to adjust. His adrenaline goes down. His cortisol levels rise up. And then the 2 weeks goes by. He kind of heals himself. He gets back up. He goes back to his family. The cortisol levels go down. And then his body goes back to what his normal homeostasis is. But today, I always tell people that we're constantly running from the saber-toothed tiger, whether it's traffic, our bosses. There's always something going on, and that saber-toothed tiger is constantly chasing us. So our adrenaline levels and our cortisol levels and all of the levels of our hormones that are so important for our body to reach that normalcy, they're no longer in a normal state ever. So we're constantly like using all our B vitamins up or using everything up, and we can never be back to that normal state.
Yeah, the stress response is an energy-intensive response and nutrient-intensive response as well. And Renee's her narrative, that little story, highlights not only the stress response but the importance of the immune system, because once that ancient ancestor of ours that was running from that saber-toothed tiger and then falls into the ravine and then has to lie there for how many days, whatever, it was the immune system that was trying to heal his body. So these things all get interconnected. But modern life is stressful to the max. But that's not to say that our ancient ancestors didn't experience stress. It was stress all the time, 24/7. It's just different form, different inducers or different triggers for the stress today. We'll talk some more about this. Stress also has an optimistic side. It can be very motivating as well. However, when you leave that fight or flight response on, when you leave that switch on, the toll on your body, your health, your life, quality of life, and others around you is devastating.
To the show.
And welcome to the show. If you just tuned in, thanks for doing so, wherever and however you may be listening or watching, and whatever you may be doing, coast to coast and globally. We do stream, and that puts us on, right now, we have figured we've made an appearance on 5 different continents, and that's on the stream. Gary will tell you about that in a moment. We have a new guest today, Renee Manzi, and this is all good. We're going to be talking about stress, how to manage it from a diet and lifestyle perspective and dietary supplement perspective. You don't control stress, you manage it. Control's an illusion generally. If you can release yourself from that notion of, I'm going to control stuff, you'll find it to be very liberating. And you don't have to go to a Tibetan monastery to do that. Right? Those of you who practice Buddhism and meditate and all that, you get introduced to that concept that control's an illusion. Maybe a necessary illusion, but we don't control anything. We influence and manage things. We can react and respond to people, events, processes, phenomena. Control? No. It's in the lexicon. We use that term a lot. And it might bring psychological comfort to say that I'm in control here. Really? Yeah? Let me tell you something. Raise children. Be married. Be a school teacher. And you'll find out real quick that control's an illusion. Children will teach you in an instant that it's an illusion. And you may think you're controlling them until what? Adolescence hits, and then you find out, you know what? I wasn't controlling them at all along. I just thought I was. I do it with a sense of humor, but in all seriousness, when I give workshops on stress management, and when I've done that, I make that, and it makes people uncomfortable. Type A personalities become very, you can, I watch for it every time, the nonverbal. When I say control's an illusion, you don't control anything.
You know what's amazing is I came in here, what was it, Wednesday when I was like beyond stressed out and I was ripping my hair out.
Yes.
And you looked at me and you went, what's wrong? Your blood pressure's up. And you knew.
I knew.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word. It was just my mannerisms,
You're nonverbal. I could tell your blood pressure was up. I could tell you were upset. We exhibit the stress, our response to stress, nonverbally and verbally, and it takes a lot of discipline. And by the way, to respond to stress and not to react to it. And when under stress, the dominant response emerges, typically in humans. The dominant response will emerge, whatever your dominant response may be. You can take an individual and put them in identical stressful situations, and you will see different responses or reactions to the stress. But all that being said, stress is a necessary element for our survival and has been since the beginning of our evolution over these tens of millions, hundreds of millions of years. And in modern life is stressful, and so was the ancient life, if you will, the life of our ancestors, ancient ancestors. Hunting and gathering all day long, fighting the elements. It was survival, and it was a cage match with nature every day, and we forget that. But modern life is stressful too, all day long, from morning till night. So
So how did you deal with? I'm asking you this question because I want to know. How did you deal with coming into work this morning with that terrible accident on I-4?
It was horrible.
That traffic.
So what I decided, I looked at my watch and I said, okay, I may be late. What am I? Then I figured, what would be the plan? I will do the show from my cell phone. I'll call Gary. I'll call Stephen, and I've done this before with Stephen, and so I figured that out. And I said, well, let me stay calm. The traffic, it was a parking lot, and it was not moving. And I said, let's just see. And there's nothing I could do about that. And wrenching and whatever wasn't going to make a change. So I just sat there. And one of the most important fundamental principles to practice when under stress is to breathe from your diaphragm, diaphragmatic breathing.
Show me.
Okay, when you breathe most people don't breathe from their diaphragm. Singers and musicians learn how to do that. And athletes, when you breathe from your diaphragm, when you inhale, your stomach pushes out. When you exhale, your stomach goes in. So you're not breathing from your lungs, you're breathing from your diaphragm. And so when you inhale, your stomach will protrude out. Exhale, your stomach moves inward. That's how you know you're breathing from your diaphragm. When you breathe that way under stress, it moderates it. I've had stress experts on my show. I'll ask them that question. I'll say, what's the most important thing to do when under stress? And they'll say, breathe from your diaphragm. Doesn't cost you a penny. Right? Never mind all the other things I could share with you about how to manage it, which we'll get into. Renee Manzi is my guest. We're going to bring her on when we head into on the other side of these messages. She's out there in Southern California in the midst of all those wildfires and had to evacuate herself. And
she's probably breathing like a hurricane.
Well,
right
she
now.
said the air is horrible there, and from the fires. So she's safe. Her family is safe, and thank God she's not in Santa Rosa area where they have been just devastated. Lose everything. I don't know if you all saw the piece of footage that was on the national media. The woman returns home to her property and just saying, it's gone. Our home is gone. Our home is gone. And I sat and I just thought, wow, man. You lost everything. Can you imagine? You talk about stress. The other great lesson that stress that controls an illusion is when you get sick. And when you get sick with a life-threatening disease. That is a great lesson in how control is an illusion. Any cancer patient will tell you that. MS patient, Parkinson's disease patient. Cancer patients will tell you that it's an illusion. It controls an illusion. Lessons learned from that. Here's some numbers to call. Join in the conversation. Connect.
877-897-8255 or 813-636-8255. You can use that number anywhere in the world, actually. That's our direct line to our studio.
By the way, we could tell Renee if she'd like to be on the stream, if she'd like to, we can stream her live, and she will be global as well as coast to coast. We have that. We now have that feature. Not only are they streaming me and the show, but we can stream the guest or a caller, you, if you so like. So we have that technology. That's why Let's Talk Nutrition is health talk radio for the 21st century. Stress. How do you deal with it? How do you manage it? How do you use your diet, your lifestyle, and supplementation to do that? Or are you not mindful about stress? By the way, mindfulness, practicing mindfulness, living in a mindful way is one strategy to manage stress. We'll be back with Renee Manzi in just a moment.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilo Max, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension. Exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. If you just tuned in, welcome to the show. Renee Manzi is my guest today, an educator for Country Life Vitamins, has a background, both formal and informal background in nutrition, health, and wellness. Mom taught her about the principle of being healthy and eating well, taking supplements and whatnot, and then went and got a formal education, got credentialed, and licensed nutritionist. Renee, welcome back to the show. So
Yeah.
I'll leave it to you now where you'd like to take it in terms of what you want to share with the audience today, the listener and the viewer, coast to coast and globally, on stress and how you think about it and managing it and what they might do or learn from you.
I think as a country, we've learned to deal with stress maybe in some of the more unhealthy ways. So we get the constant barrage of stress, things coming to us, and then it leads us to lose some of our vitamin intake and things like that. And we don't always think to go back and get the vitamins that we need to get better. So what we do is we have that overarching feeling of stress, constant stress, and it makes us tired. So in the afternoons, we're tired. In the morning, we wake up unrested, we're tired. So what do we reach for? We reach for caffeine. And that's, Monster drinks, Starbucks, whatever we can get our hands on, McDonald's, just to get that caffeine into our bodies. And then that creates like a worse cycle of stress that just keeps going and going, because caffeine gives you that temporary okay, and it ends up causing a lot more havoc en route. So I think one of the most important things we need to do is think about our food, right? Food is the best medicine. I learned that from my mother, and I try to use that for my family and my children. But food sometimes doesn't have enough in it, so we have to look to other sources to get our nutrients from. So we sometimes take a multivitamin, sometimes take different things for our bodies. But when it comes to stress, we need certain different nutrients that we need to get from a supplement form. And sometimes we use things like B vitamins or different herbal extracts, things that can calm the central nervous system, things that can take stress levels down naturally instead of reaching for some pharmaceutical drug, which is so common in the United States today. I personally, what I've used over the years to keep me from reaching for that caffeine all the time is making sure that I have adequate B vitamins in my body. And a way to do that is by taking a B complex. And I think that's something that everyone should be taking. I know a lot of people say, well, if you have your choice, you were on a desert island, what would you take with you? What would be the three most important things? And a lot of people say a multivitamin or whatever. Mine probably would be a B complex, probiotics, and a fish oil. That's probably my favorite three supplements that I would take with me to the deserted island to keep me healthy. Because the B vitamins really do help with your stress levels. And I think it's important for us to think about that and the many different ways that you can take them. Because a lot of people say, well, I don't want to take another pill. Why would I do that? I feel like I'm swallowing things all the time. I have to take this pill and that pill. So they're looking for alternative forms to take it too. And that's where new advancements and different things come into play. And I think it's a really good idea to think about taking your B vitamins in any way that you can get them. Foods, different foods, but also in supplement form. Do you take B vitamins? Are you a fan?
Of course. Coenzymated Bs from Country Life, absolutely. And when I was doing intensive chemotherapy over this past year, I had to do 36 hours of it and 31 hours of radiation and 4 surgeries. But the chemo, the doctors were worried about my folate levels, folic acid. And so I had to make sure that I was taking folate. Hold on a second.
Okay, I know. One of the things that I do is Doc's got me onto is taking this B vitamin, and I take them in the morning because as soon as I wake up, I take a multi, I take a B vitamin, then I go to work out. And I've noticed that if I don't take it, I get a headache.
What does that bottle say?
Folic acid.
Who's the brand?
That's Country Life.
Yeah. In my bag, can't make this up. In my bag, I have the folic acid. And I also have Country Life's methylfolate in my bag. I'm holding it up, showing it on the screen. So I've been taking those because what happens when you're doing chemotherapy, is that your platelets deplete. My doctors, and still are, very concerned about me getting injured or cut because my platelets are so low. I would bleed out in a bad accident, would bleed out faster than otherwise. So it turns out that folic acid, will help restore, among other nutrients. Vitamin C levels also will help bring up the folate level, your platelet levels to normal level. I am dangerously low even as I speak. So I'm taking the coenzymated multi, the B complex, plus additional folate. When you go through that kind of therapy, that's very stressful. So stress takes on many different forms. And when you're ill, that's a stress event. Make no mistake about it. And doing 1 year of this stuff, you talk about stress, it's the ultimate. And, of course, just driving to work. Everything from driving to, being in relationships. If you let things get away from you, everything can turn into a monumental stress event. We have to figure out how to not let that happen. That's part of managing stress, too. So we come back, we'll talk about Country Life's coenzymated Bs. It's one of the best B complex supplements on the market.
Are you?
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. My guest is Rana Manzi, talking about stress. And one of the ways to manage it is to keep your nutritional status optimal. Turns out that stress will deplete energy and deplete certain vitamins and minerals. Your B vitamins become a critical tactic in the strategy of using supplements to manage stress. And stress is associated with all kinds of events. We were talking to Renee a moment ago about the wildfires in California where she lives. She had to evacuate from her home and under threat of the fire. This is an evidence-based show if you're new to the show. I went to PubMed. Here's the title of the study. Gary will throw it up onto the screen. A randomized trial of nutrient supplements to minimize psychological stress after a natural disaster. How about that? You can't make that up. And it turns out that those consuming the B complex supplement showed significantly greater improvement in stress and anxiety compared to those consuming a single nutrient or not consuming the supplement. So there are data, there are studies, there is science to support this particular tactic and using B vitamins to help manage stress. Renee, welcome back. There are other studies associated with natural disasters as well, but I thought it was timely and fitting to use that as an example. We are evidence-based. I know you're new to the show, but it's evidence-based. This is a science-based show.
That's necessary in today's world. Evidence is great.
So can you talk about what makes Country Life's dietary supplement, the coenzymated B supplement, so special, and why I said that it's one of the best B complex supplements on the market?
A B complex is great. Everyone should take one. Country Life's B complex is a little bit different than most of them on the market because it's coenzymated, and the only one on the market that's fully coenzymated, which sets it apart. And what coenzymation means, basically, it's in a simple way to kind of explain that when you take in your B vitamins, your body has to look at what you've taken in and has to decide what it is, break it down into its reduced form, and then assimilate it and see where its bioavailability is. With a coenzymated B complex, your body, it's already reduced. So your body already takes it in, and they're like, oh, I know exactly where that is, what that is, where it belongs, and it takes it in right away. So the bioavailability is higher. There's some other really good aspects to it. I think your producer was saying that he takes his vitamin in the morning when he wakes up. A lot of times you're not eating when you wake up. So one of the cool things about the coenzymated B complex is, unlike a lot of other B complexes on the market, you can take it on an empty stomach.
Yes, that's why I do it.
Take it every morning. So you don't have any problem. If you take a standard B complex on an empty stomach, a lot of times you'll get that nauseous feeling, and it's a bad idea, right?
Yeah. The other day I came in here.
You're confirming his experience.
Tuesday, I just wanted to rip my head off because it was like I took a different brand, and I just
he had a bad reaction to it.
I actually gave it away.
Yeah. So
and that's what people do. They automatically throw it out and say, I can't. I've heard so many times, especially when I was still in the stores, customers would come in and they say, oh no, I'm not going to take a B vitamin. They make me sick. And I always said, and this was way prior to me being with Country Life, but growing up in the industry, I said, you know what, take this. I promise you're not going to feel sick by taking it. And it makes a big difference. A lot of times pregnant women, one of the most important times to take folic acid, just like what you were saying earlier with your platelets and after a cancer treatment, it's very, very important to take folic acid during pregnancy, right?
Absolutely.
And in our form, we have the coenzymated form. In the right form, the body will take it in, because a lot of people have trouble and struggle dealing with folate. I know you said that you have the methylfolate, which is the top form. So a pregnant woman, they won't take it because they say it makes them feel sick. With the coenzymated B, you don't have that problem. So it makes it a lot better and a lot easier on the stomach. There's no smell when you open it up. It doesn't have that stinky like B vitamin smell, so you don't have that problem. And it's biologically active, so it immediately goes into the system and it's functional. And the coolest part is what I was saying earlier. I think, is we just came out with a form in powder for people that don't like to take.
Oh, the B complex, the whole B complex series in a powder form.
Yeah, there's two of them. One I have them sitting here in front of me. One of them is a coconut flavor powder.
Oh.
The other one is lemon lime. So you can add it to your water. Kind of energizes the water, and it can take the place of that energy drink, right? So
this
you
is
get the
good.
actual real form of energy. So you throw it in your bottle of water in the morning. You head off to work. It's in your car.
Yeah.
And still over the day. People are moving away from sodas, especially diet sodas and different things. I think bottled water was up like 7% last year because people are moving away from sodas. And a lot of times they want something to put in it for flavor or whatever. And if you're a big fan of the energy drinks, Monster and all those, and you want to cut that sugar intake, this is a great way just to throw it in your bottled water. It has a little bit of flavor, and you get what you need instead of the bad stuff you probably don't need. So that makes it really cool.
877-897-8255, toll free. You're listening to Renee Manzi, educator for Country Life Vitamins, a brand new guest on Let's Talk Nutrition. We bring in guests from all over the world, all over the country. I am very much a multicultural, multi-point of view, non-ideological, non-parochial type of host and producer. I like it wide open, different points of view. I'm all good with that. Love it. We don't have, the only agenda here is to educate, empower you, as well as entertain. And entertain doesn't mean being funny. Entertain to me means being relevant, compelling, meaningful. And that's what we try to do in its performance. And some days, as in any performance, you perform better than others, but we try to be consistent. And are you working in any stores now, or working for, do you visit stores now, Renee, or no?
In the Orange County area, in the Inland Empire, I do. I visit stores, and I still actually work the aisles occasionally. A lot of these people and these people that work in the stores are a little bit stressed themselves after I hand out all my B vitamins because they have a job that sometimes they can't hire enough people to be on the floor. So we'll go in and kind of help out maybe for a half hour, an hour. And I get the same kind of comments that I used to get from customers.
And that is?
People just looking for something to make them feel better. Like they're not sleeping right. They don't, they just feel off. And I think a lot of times a B vitamin is sometimes what you need. I know that I used to suffer with anxiety after my first son was born. And I really didn't want to take any pharmaceutical drugs. Like I told you earlier, I was raised by my mom to not do those things. And I didn't take them when I was younger, and I felt I wasn't going to take them then. So I was searching for answers in a more holistic way. And B vitamins were a big part of that.
Excellent. We'll be back with the LTN health question of the day.
Women who are pregnant or planning to have a child have specific nutritional needs. Maintaining optimal nutritional intake is important for mother and baby. Body Vigor's Preferred Prenatal can help mother and baby receive the appropriate building blocks for growth, development, and healthy function. The Preferred Prenatal formula provides essential vitamins and minerals, along with added support ingredients such as folic acid and DHA. Preferred Prenatal also incorporates a bonus herbal blend to help the mom-to-be with the uncomfortable side effects of pregnancy, like nausea, vomiting, mood swings, and uterine health. Support a healthy pregnancy for you and your baby with Preferred Prenatal, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN health question of the day. Earlier in the show, I was talking about insect burgers, breaded insects, eating insects. Turns out that is a strategy that's being used to help feed the world's population, the planet's population, because there's been an increase in the consumption of meat and dairy, and that has put a strain on the environment. And we'll get into this another day. I've done shows on this topic, but it's not sustainable the way we're going. And many experts are saying we're going to need to perhaps move toward the consumption of insects at some point if we don't change the way we want to eat and what we're eating. Here's the question. According to estimates, insects form part of the diet of at least A, 2 million people on the planet, B, 20 million, or C, 2 billion. Insects form part of the diet of at least, 2 million, 20 million, or 20 billion people on the planet. You have the right answer, you'll win a $25 supplement gift card. I'll give you a hint. It's a whole lot of people. Gary.
It is. You can reach us at 877-897-8255, 877-897-8255.
In case you want to know, according to this one source I'm relying on, at least 31% of beetles, let me put it this way, beetles are the most frequently eaten insects. Beetles around the world, followed by caterpillars, yum, bees, wasps, and ants. And then they will serve up locusts, crickets, cicadas, termites, dragonflies, and flies. They're used as a food source by humans. Africa, Southeast Asia, a lot of consumption of insects. And it's a delicacy. And these are highly nutritious.
I had candy-coated ants. I thought ants would be higher because I had candy-coated ants in
Remember who mentioned
Costa Rica?
Was it Steve mentioned mealworms? Was it you?
I said mealworms, and then Steve said that
mealworms. Mealworms, the larvae of the mealworm beetle is used by some cultures to get the omega-3 fatty acids, as are found in fish, for example. Renee, welcome back to the show. Would you eat insects?
You know what? You'd be surprised to know how many insects you do eat on a daily basis. Has anyone in the studio eaten a fig Newton? You guys eat fig Newtons?
Renee, I ride a motorcycle, so yeah.
Well, besides that time, do either of you eat fig Newtons?
I used
to.
to.
You ever eaten a fig
No, I don't eat fig Newtons.
No. Okay, well, many Americans do, millions of Americans do, and the USDA actually has an amount of acceptable levels of wasp that is allowed to be in your fig Newton. So any fig product, because wasps naturally are attracted to the fig plant,
wow.
the USDA will allow a certain amount of wasp parts per million that are allowed to be in any of your fig products. And so some of the crunch that you think are in those fig Newtons are just...
Well, I like figs, so okay, all right then, it turns out that you can get some of the B vitamins in some of these insects, and but we don't have to go there because, thank goodness, we have Country Life's coenzymated bees. We don't have to eat insects.
We promise we aren't adding insects to the B vitamins.
I'm sure of that. Some insects contain riboflavin, pantothenic acid, biotin, and folic acid. So this is real, people. I'm not making this stuff up. But the coenzymated bees are fabulous from Country Life. Go ahead, Renee.
Well, I was just going to say, a big source of our B vitamin intake comes from meat and dairy. And so what people forget is that insects are just a smaller form of protein sources. So even we eat insects all the time. I mean, a lobster is an insect, a crab is an insect, and people eat them. So, we forget that there are things out there that it may be, irk-worthy right now, but I think as people realize the importance of kind of taking off that strain on what we're doing with other types of protein sources, it's not a horrible idea, right?
No, it's not really. I'm just out of curiosity. Do you consume meat and dairy?
I do, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I try to limit it when I can, but yeah, I do. Not so much dairy. It doesn't always agree with me, but I do eat.
What meat sources do you consume?
I eat red meat, steak, chicken, and occasionally pork.
Wow.
You know what, though? Actually,
did your mother do that too, or was your mother a vegan or vegetarian?
No, we were not. That's the one place she didn't go with that. We were not vegans or vegetarians.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised by
yeah.
that. Isn't half of the population in California vegans? No, I'm just kidding.
I think so. You'd be surprised. They're everywhere.
I know.
But I think veganism is. I always say veganism is. It's almost not even just a diet; it's a way of life. So it's so.
Well, funny you mention that. It can be a way of religion too, because the Seventh Day.
Say that. I didn't know how far you wanted to get into.
Yeah, Seventh Day Adventists in Loma Linda, California. Turns out that Loma Linda is one of the blue zones on the planet, and it is. It made that status, reached that status because of the Seventh Day Adventists, who don't eat meat or dairy. And I'm just saying, they live longer and have better quality of life. So I'm on a whole food, plant-based diet, no meat, no dairy, and just a little bit of oil. I'm trying to eliminate the oil too. That's very strict. We'll talk about that some other time with you, Renee. Thank you for being on today. We appreciate you taking the time, getting up so early, and we wish you the best with that natural disaster, you and your family, and all the folks in California that are under threat of these fires. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You do the same. You take care of yourself. And we'll be back on Monday, God willing, and we'll do this again with you. We love doing it because your health is your wealth, and your health is the wealth of those that care about and love you.